All right. Chat popped out. Okay. We're already on the YouTubes and the Twitches. We're already, now we go live on the TikToks. All right. What are we going to talk about today? Hopefully we get some good people in here to debate today. That would be lovely. I haven't been home for the last few days, like at all. I have been away from home, and I wasn't really on my phone too much. So it's possible that there are interesting things that have happened that we can look at. Potentially. Possible. What day is it? Today's the 13th. Okay, this order's from today. Oh, this is a pointless motion. Oh, we got an order in JGG yesterday. Oh, it was just Boasberg granting motions to file under seal. Okay. So, stuff we don't super care about, but kind of are something. And then I did actually see. Yeah, I did see that there was an order in Abrego Garcia's case today that got resolved pretty quickly, or seemingly kind of sort of quickly. They were supposed to have, what's up, Cam? How's it going? Thank you for the 4 roses. I super appreciate it. Welcome. Yeah, I saw there was an order earlier in Kilmar Abrego Garcia's case. I think. Hold up, real quick. My live's gonna pause for just a second on him. There we go. I forgot to turn Do Not Disturb on my phone. Whenever I'm streaming from my phone, I always have to make sure I have Do Not Disturb on, so I'm not having notifications distract the shit out of me while I'm reading chat and stuff, or just like popping up randomly for no reason. Got to make sure that's on. Okay. Yeah, there was an order in Kilmar's case. I think the government was supposed to have all their discovery stuff submitted, and all that was supposed to be wrapped up today, but they didn't attach. They never attached their privilege log, so Judge Zinnis ordered them to do that, and they seemingly did it pretty quickly after. So, the injunction hearing in JAV was. Oh no, that was like a while ago. They just dumped the transcript yesterday. Yeah, they filed the official transcript yesterday. Okay, so there's actually nothing huge in any of these, at least not in these 3 cases. Like there's little stuff. I don't think, like, there's the filings in the Garcia case, but I don't think any of it really matters because it's just the government submitting their discovery stuff, which we probably won't have access. We either won't have access to it ever because a lot of it's filed under seal, or maybe we'll have like some access to some of it over time. But it's probably going to be pretty much nothing. Cam, thank you for the 4 ice cream cones. Much appreciated. Okay. Let's see if we can actually get a good conversation in today. Thank you for the follow, Scooter. We're still pushing the followers. We're still pushing the follower goal. We're close-ish. We're close-ish to 10K. We're like in the ballpark. 9,700 something. Like, we're ballparking. We're close to 10K. We should be able to get there by the end of the week, assuming we stream every day and actually like have entertaining stuff going on. If we get good debates going, get good people to talk to coming up. So if you have any if you know of any vehement Trump supporters, send them my way. Tell them to come up here and talk. I think the main thing I want to focus on is, I mean, always like the legal stuff, the unconstitutional stuff. We have some really weird, what would you call it? Would you call it hypocrisies? Yeah, I guess so. We got some weird, really interesting, but really not good hypocrisies coming from the White House. I talk to you, but I'm definitely not a Trump supporter. Can you address the suspension of habeas corpus? Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're definitely gonna have to address it. It's not good. It's very not good. Very, very not good. I don't know whether or not to think that it will happen. You know what I mean? Like, it would be very bad, but I almost think it's just kind of like posturing. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of posturing. I don't know if it would be a thing they would go for, mainly because when it comes to the illegal deportations, Trump polls really, really low. Like, he cares. People, you may not believe it always, but he really does care a lot about like being popular. Like, he care. Like, I mean, you hear how much he talks about it, about, you know, being the most popular president. You know what I mean? He cares about that kind of thing. So, like, when his polling numbers drop and when people stop supporting him on certain issues, like, it tends to actually affect him. So he polls really bad on the illegal deportation stuff. So I highly, highly doubt it'd be something they'd actually do. I don't know. I don't know. Genuinely, wholeheartedly, have no idea if they would do it. I mean, I don't know, or I won't know if they're gonna do it until they do it. The administration talks a lot about stuff that they want to do or would do, and then it never comes to pass. So I don't know. The habeas thing is a little weird. It feels like posturing to me, but we'll see. We'll see. And then, not a Democrat anymore, but not a Trump supporter. I'm a Republican supporter. I got that. I feel that. You circle around too much. All right, we'll come talk. Britain, whatever your name is. Hit the request button. Come talk. Up. I'll even invite you. Look at that. Yeah, the hypocrisies thing. Like, it is really weird, or it is kind of like amusing to see a lot of the justification that Trump gives for his First Amendment restrictive stuff is on the basis of anti-Semitism, that he's like trying to combat anti-Semitism, right? He's you know, he'll fuck with Harvard, he'll take away grants from Harvard and other schools and say it's on the basis of, you know, I'm just trying to prevent anti-Semitism. That's all I want. But then accept a $400 million private jet from Qatar, a humongous funder of Hamas. It's like, oh, okay. So you want to stop anti-Semitism, but you're okay with taking presents from one of the biggest funders of Hamas. Okay, that's fair. That makes sense. It kind of goes to show that it's all just a grift. Whenever he says, like, I'm just, all I want, I'm just trying to prevent anti-Semitism, bro. That's it. That's all I want. He's lying. Clearly lying. 600 million. Oh, Jesus Christ. I heard 4. Where are we getting the numbers from? Steve Bannon is still at his inner circle. Paste. But yeah, it is like a kind of hilarious hypocrisy going on there.
Oh, what are you talking about?
What's going on?
Not much. How what were you guys talking about? How Joe Biden let 14 million illegals?
No, that's not what we were talking about.
Oh, what were you guys talking about?
Is that what you want to talk about?
How inflation's going down right now?
Is that what you want to talk about?
I mean, Trump's doing an amazing job. The inflation report came out, the jobs report came out, everything came out. They were all wrong about Trump.
Okay, let me ask you one question. Just answer. It could just be yes or no. If it is the case that Trump does something good, like if he just does a thing that's just objectively good and helps people, does that mean that he's incapable of doing something bad as well?
No, but we're talking.
No. So everything you
We
just
all
said is
know
fucking stupid, right? Would you agree?
what did he do so bad? Cheat on his wife?
I mean, it depends on how you feel morally about that. I mean, I guess he did do that a couple times, but I don't care.
What bad things? That's why I want to learn. What bad things did Trump do?
I think he's anti-constitutional for starters.
Oh,
Fucking
okay.
dog hair in my mouth.
So what rights did he take from you?
From me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm white, so he isn't taking any from me, and I'm not a lawyer.
Didn't
If
take
you're
anything from
if you're
him.
non-white or a lawyer, you're getting your rights stripped.
No, you don't.
Wait, how did you? Oh, now you accept. Okay.
No, I've been accepted for 30 seconds now. I've been watching you.
Okay.
Well, all I feel is like I've been through the Trump's administration and Joe Biden's administration, and I'm back at the Trump's administration. I, as a minority, don't feel like he took anything from me, and like it's just back in 2018 and 2019. He's just trying to make things cheap.
I'm trying to decipher how you've come to your conclusions here. Okay. All right, we'll just address one by one. You said you as a minority don't feel like he's taken any rights away from you. That's fine. You could have been like a minority group. Say like women, right? Women have always sort of been a minority group in terms of rights in a way. Right? You could be like a woman in 1940s Germany. Like
They were
maybe you weren't experiencing
Germany.
certain right restrictions, right? But that doesn't mean no one does, right? So just because you don't feel it doesn't mean nobody's feeling it.
I don't feel it as a woman.
Did I
None of
say
my-
that you would or do?
No, you said women.
I said you could have been a woman in 1940s Germany and not felt the right restrictions on minorities, but that doesn't mean no one was. Obviously, Jews were at that time, right? It's just
No,
because
in
one group
1940s.
doesn't feel it doesn't mean no other group feels it.
No, let's not compare 1940s to right now.
Exactly.
Right now, we have.
It's not the
adult
comparison. I'm not comparing any time to any time. I'm saying because all minority groups don't feel something doesn't mean no one is feeling it. If it's not targeting you, you're not going to feel it, obviously.
All I know is life is great. I got a great job because of Trump. The gas prices are cheaper because of Trump.
How did
Now I could
Trump
afford groceries.
contribute to you getting a job?
I mean, the economy was a mess 4 years ago,
When did you get your job that you have now?
and now I'm doing better.
Did you get that job you have now under since January of this year?
Yeah. Trump added 200,000 jobs. That's a good thing, no?
Trump added 200,000 jobs during this term, or are you talking first term?
No, the jobs report just came out 2 weeks ago, and he added 200,000 jobs. They were like, "Oh, people are gonna lose jobs. People are gonna lose jobs," and then the report came in, and then they said, "Oh, shoot, not that many people got jobs this quarter."
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Does that I don't understand, like you're necessitating like points that don't make sense. You're saying because jobs went up, everything else he does must also be good. That's not what I'm saying. He could do good things. There's even stuff that I could point to as a person who very much doesn't like Trump. There's stuff that I could point to that he's done that I really like. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean I don't hate other stuff.
Then I'd like to congratulate you,
Yes.
and I would say that you're the first Democrat that actually like has some type of sense. Because when I come to these lives, oh, you're a racist guy, you're this guy, he's the next mustache man. I'm like, whoa, whoa, let's not go to this level. Never in my life was I ever called a racist. I have my wife is black. All my friends are Hispanic, Asians. Just because I voted for Trump and just because I voted for a good economy doesn't make me a racist.
Hold on. I just want to just so my position's clear to Ken in the chat. Yes, I am not. Sorry. The second that someone asked, I'm not a Democrat, nor am I Republican. Very center leaning. So that's
Okay.
I feel like that's part of the reason. I mean, that's part of the reason I could say like there's stuff Trump has done that I'm like, oh, good job, buddy. But
I like to hear
right now there's probably there not probably right now there's definitely more that I can say is very bad.
Hmm.
Okay, we have to talk about something. So I'll throw something in and see what you both think about it. What do you think about him taking the private jet from Qatar? Qatar. That's the closest English pronunciation.
It's fine. They're going through the legal processes to get it in their name.
Are they?
Yeah.
What are the legal processes to get to receive a
It
gift
just
like that?
happened. I mean, there's legal processes that you can obtain from get gifts.
Yeah. What do you know what those processes are?
No, I don't.
Okay, so then how would you know that he's going through the legal, that he's actually doing it the right way?
Because I've went on and listened to a bunch of different things, and I've come to the conclusion myself that it's a gift, but they're going through legal process to get this.
Yeah, right. I mean, sure, I understand that, but that's not my question. If you don't know what is supposed to happen, how could you possibly know if that thing is happening?
Because I've seen it.
How if
it up.
if you've seen it, how would you know what you're? How would you know that you've seen it if you don't know what it is? If you're supposed to,
All right, I get you on. Yeah,
you don't know how the process is supposed to work, so you can't possibly know that the process is being followed. And I know you don't know that it is being followed because it's not being followed. I'll just tell you that presidents aren't completely barred from receiving gifts. Some people think that's true. It's not. You can receive stuff from other countries. You're allowed to do so under certain circumstances. The biggest part of those circumstances, or the biggest requirement, is that you get permission from Congress. You have to go to Congress and you say, hey, this country wants to give me this thing, and can I keep it? And if they say yes, then you can. Then yes. But if they say no, then you can't. Or if you don't even ask, then you can't. Or, I mean, in Trump's case, he's just going to do it anyway, but it is illegal. It is unconstitutional for him to accept the claim if he's not going to ask permission, and he's not going to ask permission. I think he's already clarified that he's not planning on it. When you say, well, he's going through the right processes, he isn't. But you can't possibly know that because you don't even know what the process is.
Okay, can I tell you this?
Mm.
Like when you sell something, you can sell something for $1.
Mm-hmm.
It's on legal paper. Do you get that?
Yeah. Like, yeah, you can.
So, that's how it makes it legal. You can go through a process. There's certain things that you go through a process with, and if you come to an agreement, you have it on paper. I mean, if I can sell a boat to someone for $1, that's fine. It's on paper.
If your point is just that it could just be bought, like you can just sell, like Qatar could just say, hey, actually this plane, it turns out it only costs $1,000, and then we could just buy it from him for $1,000. You might run into different legal issues there, but potentially you could maybe be right. Problem is, that's not what's happening. They're giving it to him.
That's why they're going through the legal process.
But I just told you they weren't going through the legal process, and you don't actually have a rebuttal to that. I'm telling you the legal process under the Constitution to receive something like that under the Constitution, it has to be approved by Congress, and he's not even going to ask Congress.
Also, Nixon.
You know that.
Hillary Clinton.
Have you talked to the Congress?
Have I talked to the Congress? No, Congress members have. Congress members have.
Know that Congress is not going to pass that.
Because he's not asking them for permission. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, they can't possibly approve it if he doesn't ask. Because we have Congress members that have already come out and said he's not asking.
Okay,
like,
where's
he hasn't asked.
Because you've asked me about where my.
We have a quote from Jamie Raskins here. I can quote you if you want, of him saying he's a Congress member, of him saying he has not asked permission to keep this.
Okay,
but you can, again, that is a thing that's allowed. You are allowed to ask, to receive a gift from another country and then ask Congress if you're allowed to keep it, and they can approve it for you, and then you'd be able to keep it. But he's just not going to ask.
Hillary
we don't
Clinton.
know that.
Well,
Nixon.
has he asked yet?
It just happened.
Wouldn't it be pretty quick for him to just go to Congress and be like, can I keep this?
I mean, doesn't it take a while to go through Congress to get things?
Generally speaking, when you are the majority party in Congress, you can wrap these things up pretty quick. He has the majority here.
There's a lot of things going on through Congress right now. So
you're telling me they have to have a hearing for this?
Would he have a hearing to decide whether or not they're going to approve it? The gift? Yes.
What he has them on speed dial, and he asks every single congressman, "Yo, Congressman such and such." I mean, how do these things work?
they're going through the legal process right now, and that's what it is. And the host thinks that I can't come up with
No, I'm asking the host.
Yeah.
What's the way to do it? Do they have like a full out meeting? How do they do this?
Okay. So generally speaking, how this would go is Congress would convene, or Trump would at first ask, "Hey, Qatar wants to give me this plane. It's going to be," and then he would just tell them like what the deal is. Currently, the deal for this plane is that it's going to be given to the Air Force to be used as Air Force One for his presidency, and then when his presidency is over, it will transfer into the possession of one of his organizations, right? So he could go to
Right.
Congress and he could say, "Hey, Qatar wants to give me this, and can you approve it for me, please?" And he has a majority. I'm pretty sure it's just a simple majority vote. He has a majority. They'd probably do it, but that would require effort and transparency. Doesn't seem like he wants to do those things.
Well, it just
Don't you-
happens, so just
Don't
give
you
it.
feel like that's
few days.
tax money wasted? Like, does he do that, or does he have like the people on speed dial and say, uh, like, this is all like nonsense?
What would be? Let me ask you. What would be? Where's the waste? If that's the line you're gonna go with, that it's wasting tax money to have a congressional hearing for something like this. Where's the waste? What is the wasteful part?
To have these meetings and to have you gotta pay all this nonsense, and it's just crazy.
Well, for one, this process, the process of having Congress approve or disapprove of the president or any official receiving gifts from other countries is congressionally mandated. So if you want to make the argument that it's a waste of money, I mean, I guess you can, but you'd have to argue that we don't have to follow anything in the Constitution if it costs money to do so, which is fucking dumb. I don't.
Well, I feel like this is like another Democratic lie, because they don't mention stuff when Hillary accepted stuff, Nixon,
What did for one, Nixon was
Bush.
impeached, so I don't know if Nixon is going to be a good example there. But also, what did Hillary accept as
Bush.
president?
She,
When Hillary was president, what gifts did she accept?
she was never president.
I know
First
she
of all.
wasn't. So let's get a better example,
She
shall
was
we?
a member of Congress, so I guess like the same rules apply. So she accepted like a multi-million-dollar rug, and like nobody even like talked about this.
This particular rule is from the Constitution, applying from the president receiving gifts from another country, and Congress's ability to act on or to approve or
No,
disapprove
I
of that.
understand that. I understand what you're trying to say, but
Right.
like,
So using an example of for your two examples were someone that was never president and then someone that was impeached from the presidency. So give me an example of a president who has accepted a gift and not gotten congressional approval to receive it.
no, you guys are making a nothing out of a nothing burger. Joe Biden took $10 million from Ukraine and China, and nobody talks about these things.
When did he receive $10 million from Ukraine and China?
His son did.
His son did, Hunter Biden.
Oh, is Hunter Biden Joe Biden?
No, but they're all just as crooked.
Do you want to go through Eric Trump's and Trump Jr.'s malfeasances?
Yeah, but they actually have they're actually lawyers. They transferred it to a trust lawyers fund.
If you want to consider the actions of a president's child to be the actions of a president, if you want to say they're one and the same, okay, then I'll take that on. Let's go through the Trump kids and see all the fucking stupid shit they've done.
Yeah, the Trump kids are good kids. They don't use drugs in the White House. They don't do none of this crazy stuff. So you talking about the Trump kids and the Biden kids is like apples and oranges. Don't you know when Joe Biden was in office, they found crack in the White House? The first ever. Can you explain that one to me, sir?
For one, I guess we'll do two things here. A, I don't give a shit. B, if you want to do I would agree. There's one thing you said that I totally agree, and it is an apples and oranges comparison in that the Trump kids have done much worse. The best you have on Hunter Biden is that he was addicted to some substances and then lied on a gun background check form. That's the worst of his crimes.
I guess everybody sees things backwards nowadays.
I guess.
I didn't know the Trump kids were bad. They all work.
In
They
terms
all
of
have jobs.
corruption, in terms of willfully breaking laws, and I mean, you could argue that. Actually, I wouldn't even say you could argue. Like Hunter Biden definitely willfully broke the law when he lied on his background check form for his gun. Like that, there's no way you. I would assume there's no way you accidentally lie on that form in the way he did, right? So he willfully broke the law. But if you want to talk about willful breaking of American law, yes, the corruption of the Trump children is just as unhinged, if not 100 times worse. But the problem here is that this whole argument doesn't matter. I'm telling, like, what my argument actually is, when you boil it down, I don't know how the fuck we got here, is that the children, like the actions of the kids of presidents could do fucked up stupid shit, and I generally don't care. Like, yep, they're different people. I'm not gonna connect their actions to their, even with the Trump kids, even when, you know, you got fucking Don Jr. getting rung up for corruption stuff in New York, I don't care, because it's not, just because stuff he did isn't ultra reflective of his dad. If we're gonna talk corruption, I would rather just talk about the corruption of the person, the president. So if you want to talk Biden corruption versus Trump corruption, we can have that conversation. And I think Trump's much worse. What do you think about Trump coin? Like, he created a meme coin right as he got elected, so that if people wanted to bribe him, if you want to bribe Trump, all you have to do is go put $1 billion into Trump coin. And it's untraceable. You can't tell where the money's coming from. He can receive, you know, bribes from Putin, from whoever. He's receiving gifts from Qatar without asking. I keep saying Qatar. Technically, the closest English word to that country's pronunciation is Qatar, but the plane from them without asking for permission. We got Trump coin. We got, in his first term, we have so much shit from his first term. Him using the Trump hotel to elicit bribes.
Did you know that when Trump first term, he lost money as being president?
He lost net worth.
Yeah, he lost
But that's
a lot of money.
because, do you know why he lost so much money in his first? There's two big things you could point to. He did lose money in his first term. For one, because I actually don't even know if it's true that he lost money. Let's assume it's true that his net worth went down during his first term. Two things you could attribute that to. For one, he fucking sucks shit at business. His numerous bankruptcies kind of confirm that. Secondly, he's had to pay out an enormous chunk of his net worth in fucking settlements because this dude can't stop defaming people.
You know, Elon Musk lost billions because he wanted to try to save the government money.
Elon Musk might have lost billions, but it's because his actions crashed the stock price of Tesla, which is where a lot of his net worth is tied up in. And then he also bought Twitter for more than it was worth, then tried to back out of the deal, and then was sued to enforce the deal that he had already made. And then even after paying too much for Twitter, it then lost even more value.
No, Elon Musk lost money because, first of all, his cars are EVs, so it's environmentally sound. So like all the liberals, they buy all his Teslas. Because they don't like his policies, they stopped buying the Tesla cars. They started burning them up. Like, this is all money lost. Because Elon's a nice guy and he loves America, he comes into the office and says, "Let's do this, this, and that to save the government money." And then this is how the liberals treat him: burn Teslas, not buy his stocks, not buy his cars. That's not nice.
So your argument is Elon Musk lost money because he's dog shit at business?
No, because the liberals.
You would say that the liberal, like the left-leaning sect of our population, was his primary customers. That's what you'd say.
Half of them. I would
Okay,
say half.
so his primary customers are left-leaning people. And
a lot of money.
He made a conscious decision, to alienate and piss off his primary customers. And so then I would say, if he lost money by doing that, it's because he's a fucking idiot. What business owner would say, not, let's say 80% of my customer base is this group of people right here. But I think it'd be really funny to piss off all these people that are buying my cars. How is that not being terrible at business?
No, he wanted to help his country.
Okay, so you can, but you have to understand that those two arguments are mutually exclusive. It has to be one or the other. He either wanted to help the country, so he was willing to let his business fail or let his business take a hit,
Yes, he
or
wanted to
not.
help the country.
You can justify it however you want. You could say like, well, his real goal was to help the country, but then you can't use that as an excuse for why he lost money. He lost money because he made a bad business decision. It might have been, you might see it as a good moral decision. You might see it as like a good choice he made, but that was his call. His decision led to the price of Tesla stock dropping. It's his decision. It's his fault. Which, by the way, that is something he acknowledged in his last investor call with the Tesla board. He went into that call. The call is public. You can listen to everything he said. He went into that call saying like, look guys, I understand the stock price is falling. I'm going to start stepping away from Doge and I'm going to come back to the company. Even he knows that the stock price is dropping because of him, because he stepped away from the company to go do the Doge shit. So it was his fault. That's it.
That's what I'm saying. These are good people that care about America.
You
Just
can
like
say
Trump.
that.
Just like Trump should be golfing right now. He should be living the life. He should be on a cruise. He should be on vacation. He should be in like the Philippines or whatever. He should be living the good life. Don't you know that once you're a president, you get stressed out? Have you ever seen Obama's hair when he first got into office? And Obama's
Yeah,
hair
I understand.
after?
I understand that being the president is a stressful job. I just want to point something out to you. You said that you opened with, he should be out living the good life. He should be out golfing. To be ultra clear, Trump has spent almost, I won't say every single one because I don't know if it was every single one. He spent almost every single weekend since he was inaugurated golfing. So he's doing plenty. Also, being the president, you're acting like it was like some self-sacrifice of like, I could be on vacation, but instead I'm gonna be the president. Trump has massively benefited from being the president in humongous ways. We could just point to, again, I already mentioned it, but we could just point to Trump coin. He's made billions with a B, the big B, billions of dollars from Trump coin, which he was only able to market the way he was because he won the presidency. Being president has made him big money. Also, another huge point, someone just said it in chat, they're totally right. He had to become president to avoid going to prison. Had he not run for president and won, he'd probably be in jail right now.
No, it's the opposite. These charges came as soon as he was running for president.
To be clear, he was convicted of all 34 counts in New York. His lawyer was also convicted of the same counts, and he got a prison sentence, but Trump did not. The reason, the judge even says this in his sentencing, the reason he didn't get a sentence, the reason they let him go, was because he was about to be president. And it wouldn't make sense to send the guy that's about to be the president to jail. Had he not won the presidency, or had he not ran for president, he would have gotten probably the same sentence that his lawyer got because they were charged and convicted of the exact same crimes.
Oh, you mean Merchant, the Democrat? The guy who his daughter raised like 60 billions to Joe Biden's campaign? You talking about that judge?
If you think the judge was ultra corrupt, why did Trump not win on appeal? Shouldn't he have just been able to easily appeal that case and have it thrown away?
He's gonna go on appeal. He didn't appeal it yet.
Shouldn't that case just get tossed instantly then? It was so blatantly corrupt.
Yes, it will.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Why? How is it the case that his lawyer was convicted and sentenced then of the exact same crimes? The dude that did the same shit.
His lawyer was a liar, and all the juries were laughing at him. The people like watching the cases. That guy was everybody said he was a convicted liar.
So So if he lied about all this and this stuff, it never happened. How come he was convicted of the same crimes? Would you think he would let himself get convicted of all these of all these crimes if they never actually happened and he was just making it all up?
No, that guy was an idiot.
So he lied about something Trump did, got convicted, got sent to prison. Trump got convicted. So you're saying he lied about the whole thing to get Trump in trouble, which he did. Trump got convicted. But he also was convicted and he got sent to prison. Trump got let off, but he got sent to prison. And you think that he wouldn't come out later and say, like, actually, none of this actually happened. I made it all up to get out of prison?
No, I'm saying Cohen's the liar.
Uh-huh.
Cohen was a liar.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I just don't understand the justification. Your argument ultimately boils down to he made it up. Where's the evidence?
He was Trump's lawyer. He was supposed to like take care of stuff, and he's a moron. Like you get what I'm saying?
I understand.
Like Trump.
You're not understanding me.
Trump is not responsible for the lawyer stuff. He's responsible. And he got caught lying, and he tried to frame Trump and be like, "Oh, Trump did this and Trump did that."
What did he lie about?
Like giving money to Stormy Daniels.
He lied about giving money to Stormy Daniels?
Yeah.
Like you're saying the money was never sent, it never happened?
No, what I'm saying is like that has nothing to do with Trump.
How does it not have anything to do with Trump?
It's like you ever watch baseball?
Yes.
You know Shohei Ohtani was accused of the same exact thing, but then the legal system found out he was not involved in this.
Okay. So the
Like
legal system found out. So in a different case, with a different set of facts involving a different person, they were found innocent. So that means Trump didn't do it either.
What I'm saying is like it's the same scenario. You got a guy that's like stealing your money, doing like shady stuff, and like you're not involved, but your money handler or your lawyer is involved. Does that make sense?
What you're saying makes sense, but it doesn't apply to Trump at all.
But it does.
It doesn't. That's not the situation that occurred.
That's what I'm. Well, according to the court cases, Michael Cohen lied about everything.
What court cases?
And then he tried to frame Trump, and be like, "Oh, it's all Trump's fault."
I'm sorry. I thought I asked you a question. What court cases showed that Cohen was lying?
The trial we had
for Trump
in New York. Yeah.
How did anything in that trial result in approving that Cohen lied about anything?
Because Trump wasn't involved.
That's not what the jury found.
Well, this is what happens when you're in a liberal democratic state.
Okay. So if you're a conservative, being, having a trial in a liberal state, there's no way you're going to be found innocent.
Just like have you ever seen Letitia James?
Yep.
She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna run to jail Trump. I'm gonna sue Trump," and Letitia James got caught doing the same thing.
It seems that way. Does that mean that Trump didn't do it?
No, because it's all when somebody says I'm running to prosecute you, that says a whole lot about why you ran, what kind of person you are.
Yeah, I think it says that you believed that there was a person committing crimes, and you wanted them to be punished for it. So you said, when you're running, you said, if you elect me, I'm gonna get him, And then she was elected, and she did prosecute, and it's funny. It's funny how you think like the Trump trial resulted. Somehow your logic is, in that trial, we found out that Cohen actually made it all up. He was lying about everything. And yet somehow that evidence was presented to a jury, and they found beyond a reasonable doubt, which is a high bar, they found beyond a reasonable doubt that he was guilty. That something's not tracking there. Something's not adding up.
But imagine if I was a lawyer and I said, "Oh, I'm gonna run for prosecutor, and I'm gonna put Joe Biden in jail, and I'm gonna put Obama in jail, and I'm gonna put Hillary in jail." You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, Trump is the president of the United States, and he ran on all those things. He's his entire time running up to the election said, "I'm gonna get these guys. I'm gonna prosecute these guys. I'm gonna get them." But you care when Letitia James does it, but you don't care when Trump does it. You understand? Do you know why that is? Because you're in a cult.
So 250 million Americans are in a cult.
No, not all 250. The people like you that will defend everything he does and defend it hypocritically. You just thought you made a really good point about Letitia James saying she wanted to prosecute Trump and running on that. Trump ran on prosecuting his political enemies too, and is having a lot of them investigated and doing a lot of those things now. But you don't have anything to say about it. You'll never have anything to say about it.
So I'm in a cult, but you're not.
Well, yeah, because I could talk about good things Trump's done. I could talk about bad things Trump's done. I could talk about good things Biden did. I could talk about bad things Biden did. I could say good things and bad things about everyone. Yeah, you will just infinitely guzzle anything Trump feeds you.
Did you vote for Kamala Harris?
No.
All right. There's people on TikTok that are literally on TikTok 24/7. Literally, like when you put on TikTok, these people will be on the live. Oh, Trump is mustache man. Trump is literally like whenever you go on TikTok, there's people literally
I mean, that's super cool that people are saying stuff like that, but I'm not. So you're not arguing with those people right now. If you want to argue with people saying those things, go argue with people saying those things. You're here. You're arguing with me, so respond to what I say, not what they say.
Okay, but understand what I'm trying to tell you. What I'm saying is these people are in cults.
I'm saying
People
I'm
like
saying
me,
that I'm saying completely different things. Argue with me. Don't argue with them.
but that's what I'm saying. People like me that have to work 2 jobs, have to feed my kids, like that just voted for Trump because of the economy, and I want money in my pocket, does not make me a cult member, a racist, a fascist. Like me, I could agree with you that whoever buys these stupid red hats or like why you buying same goes to Kamala voters buying these Kamala and Obama posters and the mega red hats. This is all craziness.
Potentially, if it was the case that you just voted for Trump for the economy because you thought he was going to run a better economy than Kamala would have, then that wouldn't be enough for me to say you're in a cult. The reason I said that is because you thought you made a good point by saying Trump must be innocent of the New York crimes because Letitia James said when she was running, she said she was going to prosecute Trump. Therefore, if she does, it's corrupt and none of it counts. He must be innocent. She's just making it up to get him. And then I tell you, Trump also ran on prosecuting his political enemies, but you don't have an issue with that. You don't care. So clearly, you actually don't care when people say that part of their platform is to prosecute other people. That you don't care about that at all. You only care when it's against Trump. That's it. That's the only time you care.
No, I feel like they just trying to target Trump. They're just weaponizing the deal. Obama did the same thing. Clinton did the same thing. Biden did the same thing. Everybody does the same thing.
Okay,
Well,
but
actually,
every word that comes out of your mouth further proves my point. Your logic of these people did it, these people did it, and that makes them bad. But when Trump does it, that's fine. It's okay for him to do it.
no, what I'm saying is they're going on a far stretch to get Trump. He's done nothing.
Well,
I don't,
they charged him, gathered evidence, walked into court, presented that evidence to a jury, and then a jury said, "Yep, he did that shit beyond a reasonable doubt."
Still to this day, I don't know what he's charged for. What is he getting in trouble? Because
Falsifying business records. Falsifying business records because he had Michael Cohen. You leverage a second mortgage on his house to pay off Stormy Daniels. Michael Cohen was supposed to get paid back by Trump, and Trump didn't pay him for a long time. He started to get pissed. He went to Trump. Oh, sorry. He went to Trump. He said, "Hey, you got to pay me back." And so, in order to pay him back, Trump paid him and charged it in his tax filings. He charged it as legal services. He said that he was paying Cohen for legal services, but he was actually paying him to refund the money that he paid to Stormy Daniels, when you create a false entry in a business record, when you say, we spent this money, the business spent this money for this reason, but you're lying about the reason, that is a crime. That is falsifying business records. That is what he was charged with. And they charged him with 34 counts because they charged him. I don't know how I feel about this part of it. The reason he was charged with 34 counts is because they charged him with a unique count for each check that he sent to Cohen. He split the payments into 34 checks. And so for each, payment that he sent to Michael Cohen, they charged him a different time for each one.
So I feel like he's getting arrested for paperwork.
Well, it's for lying. It's for saying this is what the business spent the money on, but you're lying to cover something up. You're saying,
Okay.
you're saying, I'm actually, we're just paying our lawyer, but you're actually paying him back for sending money to a prostitute you fucked, and you don't want the world to know about it.
I don't know. That seems just like paperwork to me.
It's called fraud. That's what that's called. It's when you lie in official paper, in official documents. When you say, like, for instance, if you filed your taxes this year and you said, you reported secondary income, not income that came from your job, like from your W-2, but income that came from elsewhere. Like when I file my taxes, I have to report, money I made from TikTok or per se, say something like TikTok, right? I report, I made this much extra money on top of my job from TikTok. It'd be like if you filed your taxes this year and you said, okay, I made an extra $4,000 this year from, doing odd jobs, but actually you made an extra $4,000 from selling drugs. You're lying about the source.
So who's a bigger criminal, him or Al Capone? Who's more of a criminal?
Obviously, well, if we're talking about just stuff that was just stuff that we like know for a fact occurred, sure, you can say Al Capone's a bigger criminal. But if you're gonna say who's probably done worse shit, I'm gonna say Trump.
So Al Capone could unalive 100 people and like murder people and do whatever, and he gets charged with one felony for tax evasion. So maybe I should unalive 100 people and get one felony for tax evasion. Don't you think that's a
maybe?
more stretch?
Do you know why Al Capone was only charged with tax evasion?
With one felony, yeah.
Do you know? I'm sorry, that's not what I asked you. Do you know why?
Yeah, for tax evasion.
I'm sorry, let me ask you again. Do you know why that's all he got charged with when he was doing a bunch of other bad shit?
Why?
Because that's all that could be proven, because we didn't have RICO statutes at the time like we do now. It was really hard at the time to prosecute criminal organizations, because nowadays, if there's a big boss man up top ordering his underlings to do illegal shit, we have RICO for that. You can charge everyone under a RICO statute. At the time, we didn't have it. So it was really hard when there's a guy up top calling the shots, telling his underlings to do illegal stuff. It was really hard to prove that the guy up top was doing anything illegal. So all they could prove was the tax evasion stuff. That doesn't mean that he didn't do other bad shit. That's not what that means. It just means at the time we didn't have a statute we could use to convict on.
All I could say is, like, you young guys, the young youth, like the young teenagers, the young youth, you guys are like backwards. It's like Louis Mangini unalives a person, and he's considered a hero. I don't know, man.
I don't know why you like. I don't understand the logic of trying to pivot so hard and use what other people think. You're trying to prescribe other people's thoughts to me like I believe the same things. I don't think Luigi's a hero. I think Luigi's well, I mean, he hasn't been convicted yet, but assuming the allegations are true, Luigi's probably just a murderer.
That's what I'm saying. Not you, but a lot of young teenagers nowadays. They got some
Sure.
backwards.
I've seen people supporting him, but that's not a rebuke to anything I've said. Do you think it's possible that Luigi could be a bad person and Trump could be a bad person at the same time, or is there only allowed to be one bad person in the world at a time?
Like I said, everybody has their own opinions. I think Trump is a great guy. He loves America, and he doesn't need to be going through all this shit. He's just doing it because he wants to fix Joe Biden's mess, and he loves America. He could be out in, like I said, man. You can think whatever you want to think, but I think Trump is doing a good job, and he loves his country. That's all I see.
Okay. Why is if he loves his country so much, why every weekend does he waste millions of dollars of taxpayer money to go play golf? He could just not do that
So,
shit.
so how much money did he spend on golf?
The GAO did a report trying to figure out exactly how much it costs every time he plays. I believe it's somewhere in the ballpark of 5 million every time he goes. And he's gone, I think, every weekend or almost every weekend since he's been inaugurated.
So he pays $5 million. I could I could go to a country club and pay a membership of like $1,000 a month. So
That's
so now Trump
That's
now
super
Trump
interesting because that's not responsive to what I said. I said if he loves the country so much and he wants to save, if part of his interest is saving money, why waste $5 million per trip paying golf?
now Trump now Trump wastes $5 million on a trip of golf.
It's yeah. I don't understand.
That's
I
your
don't know if you're
that,
understanding what
that,
I'm
that,
saying.
that's your theory. That's your counteraction. Oh, he goes on Saturdays and plays $5 million worth of golf.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're listening to some liberal news.
that was the government report. The government of the United States of America did the Government Accountability Office. It's what Doge is. The Government Accountability Office is what Doge thinks that it is. They did a report on this. They're the ones that found out how much it costs each time he goes. You're doing like a very surface level understanding here. You seem to believe that what I'm saying is that it costs him literally $5 million to play golf. Like that's how much he's paying at the golf course. It's that's five. The number is how much it costs to do the trip. That's everything. That's the flight there. That's paying the Secret Service guys that have to follow him around on the course. That's paying the fucking snipers that got to sit. I don't know. They got to sit up on the roof and watch out. I don't know. Like that's the whole thing, top to bottom, 5 mil each trip. And if he's going every weekend, he's racking it up. And also,
Doesn't
that's
Secret
not just a number that's just pulled the fuck out of my ass. Like that's our own government
doesn't Secret
looking into it to see how much it
doesn't
costs.
doesn't Secret Service get paid a salary? So if I'm Secret Service, every year I get paid $100,000, and then these people they have to follow him anywhere he goes anyway, right?
So is the argument that if we have to pay the money anyway, like we already have to pay it, so like it doesn't count because we already have to pay it regardless?
No, what I'm saying is like, let's say I'm a FBI, let's say I'm a cop, let's say I'm a teacher, let's say I'm a fireman. These people they get paid a salary. Like my yearly salary would be 110,000,
Uh huh.
correct?
Uh
So
huh.
these secret agents they get paid a salary.
Yeah.
So
So I don't know why you.
so
I don't know why you're trying. I
where
don't know
are
why
where
you
are you
said no when I said your argument. So again, it's what I said. Your argument is because we have to
no
pay them
I
anyway.
don't know where
We're paying these guys a salary, so we have to pay them anyway. So it doesn't matter where they go; they're still going to be getting paid that same money.
no I don't know where you get this $5 million trip. This is just a liberal tactic. That's what it is.
So
That's
it's just a liberal. I just made it up, and it's just a liberal tactic because you haven't seen the report. Because I read it and you didn't, that means I'm making it up. You understand how
no.
fucking stupid that sounds?
I just proved you that these people. How could you pay them extra when they get paid a salary base?
I don't know how to argue with the stupid that's being said here. The whole cost isn't just Secret Service people. For one, the actual answer is the reason the cost goes up when he goes out to a place like this is because Mar-a-Lago is like a huge fucking open golf course. It's not the same. You don't have to have or you can't have the same detail you would usually have. Let's say the president would normally have a Secret Service detail of 10 guys. You can't just have 10 guys when he's going to go out to the course like this. You're going to have fucking 30 guys because you have to clear the whole. You have to. There's so many more what would you call it? There's so many more like risk factors when you're out in the open
Okay,
like
but
this.
how does this equal to $5 million?
Well, let's see. If he's going to take Air Force One, that's we're going to say, or however many
That's
tens
like
of thousands or
saying
hundreds of thousands of dollars in, huh?
that's like saying that's like saying Like, oh, you're just jacking up the price for no reason. That's like saying I want to go to the bowling alley. I want to go to the bowling alley, and it's usually like $50, let's say. But now that I'm the president or whatever, now the bowling alley is gonna cost me $5 million to go to the bowling alley.
All right, if you want to open your
What,
brain
what I'm
up for a
trying to say
second.
is,
I know
what
what
I'm
you're
trying
trying to
to say
say.
is,
Let me tell you why. You
let's
clearly
say
don't
the
understand. Let me just
government.
tell you why. I know you're not understanding where the numbers are coming from. Let me tell you. If he decides to go play golf, let's say he goes to his club, Mar-a-Lago, right? If he goes over there versus staying in the White House, and instead of just staying in the White House and having a nice weekend, and he decides to fly to Florida to play golf. The cost, the reason it's X amount of millions of dollars per trip, is because the cost includes transport there for him and his whole detail, uh, like lodging. So when they go there, the government has to pay for the hotel rooms of all. Say he has to have 30 agents there to guard him. We got to pay. We have to pay for the lodging, so the hotels of all 30 of these guys. The numbers, it racks up. Just with the jet and the lodging alone, transportation and lodging alone is going to be a shitload of money.
Yes, I
Also,
understand.
he has the Secret Service agents stay 90. I think a lot of the time he has them stay at Mar-a-Lago, at his place, the place he owns. So he's having the government pay money to his business to house these agents that have to come with him. So it's double corrupt.
So it's the same thing as if Joe Biden wanted to go to McDonald's.
If Joe
No,
Biden owned McDonald's, it would be the same, sure. But I
no, I'm
don't think
saying
Joe Biden owns McDonald's.
no. I'm saying what I'm saying is like they if Joe Biden wants to go back to Pennsylvania, let's say he was president. When he was president, he wants to go back to Pennsylvania. It would cost him $5 million
No, it would definitely not. It would be a different number.
because they still have to get the CIA agents. They got to put them in hotels. They got to feed them.
Sure,
You're
but
doing
the
you're
number
doing
would
the
be the
same
number would be
exact thing.
different. But yeah, I see you would have to pay
You're
for
doing the
the
same
transport
exact
and
thing.
lodging for your people. Sure.
Exactly. So you're doing the same thing if Joe Biden said, "Oh, I want to stay in my house in Pennsylvania for the weekend."
You don't see a difference between the president making the government pay his own business versus the president, just having, maybe he has the agents just hold up in some whatever hotel.
No, I don't.
There's no difference
Money is money.
between the president having the government pay his own business, the business he owns, that he did not
No,
divest from.
money is money.
Okay. So you don't think it's corrupt to okay, that's fine. There actually isn't an argument to that. There is no counter argument to you saying like, actually, I think it's totally fine for Trump to have to have the government pay the business he owns.
What difference does it make if he goes to the Marriott
Well,
or
because then he wouldn't be receiving the money.
or Paris Hilton's hotel?
Then
What's the difference?
the money wouldn't be coming into him. He wouldn't be getting the money. That's the difference. I don't understand. Like, there's no logical world in which you can't see that.
Well, he'll get the money anyway, right? His hotels are always packed. He makes money anyway, right?
Sure, he makes money regardless. That forcing the government to pay you the money to your business
No,
though
what I'm
is
saying,
inherently a
what I'm
conflict of
saying,
interest. If it didn't matter to him, if he didn't care, if he's like, well, I'm gonna make money anyway, it doesn't even matter. Like I don't need them. Like I don't need this extra little bit. Why not just have him stay somewhere else so it doesn't look as corrupt? Why not just like save yourself the headache?
exactly. You guys are making such a big deal out of nothing.
You can't just say exactly when you just didn't respond to what I said. Respond to what I said.
No, I said, but you're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm saying is if Trump's hotel is always booked out anyway, it's like, what's the big difference?
Are you gonna respond to what I said or no?
What did you say?
I said, if you don't think it matters whether or not he forces Secret Service agents, let's say, to stay in his hotels, right? If that doesn't matter because you think it's going to be that those rooms are going to get booked anyway. If it doesn't matter, then why not have them stay somewhere else so it doesn't look like it's corrupt? If it's he could save himself the optical problem and still make that money anyway, in your view, right? So why not do that? Why continue to have the government pay him money to pay money to his businesses, because that looks bad, right? If it doesn't matter, just pay somewhere else, or pay to have him stay somewhere else so you can save yourself the optical hit.
Exactly. Maybe he's more comfortable at his own house.
Maybe.
Wouldn't you be more comfortable at your own house?
Sure.
Maybe that's what I'm saying. It's all a bunch of nothings. I don't know what.
Well, it is the president of the United States using his power as the president to force the government to pay money to his own business. It's corrupt. It's corruption.
I don't know.
He,
I think
that's
you guys are
not
making
to mention the Cutter plane, the plane gift. That's not to mention Trump coin. That's not to mention you using executive orders to force law firms into giving you free legal services. That's not to mention all the other corruption.
Do you feel like you seem pretty educated? Do you feel like this is all like it's just all far fetched? No.
Well, I mean, for something to be far fetched, it would have to be like so unbelievable as to not even be like conceivable. You'd have to be like, that's so crazy, that would never happen. The difference here is that these things are literally happening, and you can just look and see. You could theoretically, you could just open your fucking eyes and see it, but you don't want to.
Okay, maybe I said it wrong. I'm saying, like, don't you guys feel like you guys are making something out of nothing?
No, I think the public has a strong interest in having a president that does not use his power for his own gain.
No, but do you feel like you guys criticize Trump 10 times more than Joe Biden, Obama, the Bushes? Do you feel like that?
I do. I think that I criticize Trump 10 times more than Joe Biden, but I think that Trump deserves 10 times more criticism than Joe Biden. If Biden was doing more things that deserve Biden did some things that deserve criticism, and I did criticize those things. But if Biden had done more things that deserve criticism, then I would have criticized him more. The reason Trump gets more criticism is because Trump does more criticism-worthy things.
Really?
Objectively.
Wow.
If it wasn't the case that he was doing illegal, corrupt, bad
it's
things,
just
why is it the case that now you have so many, literally dozens of his own judges that he appointed to the bench? They only have their job because of him. So they should feel some sense of loyalty to him. Why do you have so many Trump-appointed judges coming out and blocking stuff he's trying to do, and then issuing just scathing opinions? Like, this is fucking terrible. I can't believe I've never seen any president try to do something so corrupt, so bad. Why is that happening so often?
So would you say Trump is the most corrupt president? Would you say that?
100%.
So why is Obama? Obama has $200 million net worth. How is that even possible?
You want to play the net worth game?
Yeah, the guy, even before president, he had $1 million. Now how does he have 200 million?
For one, super sick pivot you did there. Second, Trump made more than $200 million just only from Trump coin, from his meme coin that he tricked his stupid fucking fans into investing in. He made like $1 billion before he even actually walked into the White House.
It's like me, right? I have like $50,000 in my bank account, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say I ran for president, and then 4 years later I have 200 million. How is that even possible?
I don't know. Didn't he write a book that did really, really, really well?
No, he scammed money out of Americans, and he did a stock. What's that shit called? What's that shit called? The thing that Nancy Pelosi does.
Insider trading, stock manipulation. What are we talking about?
Yes, Obama did it. Stock inside trading. That's how we
Insider
got the
trading.
200
Did you know that Trump got caught on a secret camera? Not secret camera, but he got caught on a recording bragging about insider trading in the White House with his buddies.
That's what I'm saying. These people are corrupt. How does Nancy Pelosi have $400 million?
You asked me if I thought that Trump was the most corrupt president. I never said, never, ever, 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 ever did I say that I don't think any other president except for Trump is corrupt. I think Biden pardoning, I think Joe Biden pardoning Hunter Biden was corrupt.
But
I
don't
didn't
you
say
know
any,
that-
and it never said that no one else was corrupt. I said Trump is the most corrupt.
Yeah,
He's
but
number
don't you
one.
know that- But don't you know that the rich get richer? Don't you know that? The rich, they get richer. You get what I'm saying? So if Trump has $5 billion, in 5 years he'll have seven, and then nine, and then 11, then same thing as Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett. Like Jeff Bezos had 50 million, now it's 100 million, now it's 150 million. Now Jeff Bezos has 200 million. The rich get richer.
That's super
That's
true.
why Trump is. That's why Trump is rich. That's why
Sure.
Jeff Bezos is rich.
Trump who's
But-
had to
but
file
what I'm trying to-
bankruptcy for
but-
multiple
but-
of his
but
businesses.
what
Yeah,
I'm
that's
trying to
why he's
say
rich
is-
for sure, dude. Yeah, totally.
But what I'm trying to say was Obama was just a regular guy. Obama was just a regular Joe Schmo. Only had $1 million in his bank account, and now he has 200 million. That's corruption at the finest. You get what I'm saying?
Do you have any evidence that he made? Do you have any evidence that he made any of his money in a corrupt way?
Yeah, insider trading. We just established.
I'm sorry. I'll repeat. You must have not heard me. What I had said was, do you have any evidence that he made any of his money in a corrupt way?
Yeah, how did he? Actually, I don't know. How did he make his money?
I don't know. I just you seem to be
Nobody knows.
super convinced that it was corrupt, right? So I'm just seeing if you have any idea. You know, if you have any proof.
Exactly, nobody knows. This should all be public knowledge, but nobody knows how Obama got his 200 million. Nobody knows.
Well, let's see. We got some reporting on it. Let's see. He so his net worth is actually 70 million, not 200 million.
So that's what I'm saying. If the guy had 50K, let's say, I don't know how much he had. All I know, he was a bum when he first started.
Okay, so let's see. He made his the president's salary is 400K a year. So he would have made what? How much?
Correct.
400.
That's
What
I'm saying.
he would have made? What? 4.8 million while president. And then since being president, he does speaking engagements. It looks like people have confirmed that his speaking fee is about 400K. So 400,000 per speech that he does. He did a book deal. See, he following the end of a podcast. So he had a podcast deal with Spotify. That probably paid him a lot. He got a lot of money there, I'm sure.
Now you see.
Then he
now
wrote
you
a
see
book.
Now you see how everything's.
He has a Netflix deal.
Now you see how everything's like coming into conclusion. Like, oh, Hillary Clinton could be like, oh, I'm doing a speaking deal and do corrupt shit with China and Ukraine and get $50 million or whatever millions. Oh, I'm the ambassador. What is Hillary Clinton the ambassador of? Sucking cock? I don't understand. This is all corrupt stuff. Is what I'm trying to say.
It's corrupt to write a book about what it was like to be the president after you're done being the president.
No, like speaking engagements.
Why is it corrupt to people want to hear from you? What if there's like what if there's a big big audience that wants to hear what you have to say? Why would it ever be corrupt to do speaking engagements?
It is corrupt because you're president of the United States.
Well, he wasn't. He's not president of the United. He started doing those after he was president.
You have very powerful ways to make countries do whatever.
After you're president, you have powerful ways to make countries do whatever. When you're out of power and you can never be in power again because you did 2 terms.
No,
You understand why? What you can you admit that what you just said is stupid?
no, he did it while he was in office. So
Well, it looks like he made the humongous bulk of his money after being out. He made a lot. He had a Netflix deal he made a lot of money from. He wrote a book he got a lot of money from. He had a deal with Spotify he got a lot of money from. He's done a bunch of speaking engagements.
just
and his
like Joe
net worth is
Biden's
only
family.
70 million. If he was as corrupt as you seem to think he was, it should be way higher than 70 million.
Like just like Joe Biden's family got rich off of Ukraine and China.
Do you
They
know that
paid
the
Hunter
do
Biden.
you know that the
They
do you know
paid
that the
Hunter.
informant did you know that the informant that tipped off the FBI about the Burisma stuff,
Yeah.
that there was corruption? Do you know the informant that gave that tip has since admitted that he made it all up and he's been convicted of such?
They Hunter Biden made $10 million for a painting.
So I'll say it again. Do you know that the informant that gave the FBI that information about the Hunter Biden Burisma corruption admitted later that he lied about all of it and made it all up, and he's been convicted of doing so?
So you're telling me Hunter Biden didn't get $10 million?
I'm telling you,
Is that
I'm telling
what you're
you
telling me?
that this whole thing of Hunter Biden made bazillions of dollars from Burisma in Ukraine. The corruption aspect of that, he definitely made money.
But I'm
He was definitely
just
put
asking.
on their board of directors because of who his dad was. Do you understand? Like, that's
Yeah, that's what I'm
stupidly
trying to
common,
say.
huh?
But that's what I'm trying to say. Hunter Biden made $10 million while he was a crackhead and a drug addict, and he loved hookers, and like he's not even like a good to society.
Where's I need you to answer this question. Let's say the board of Burisma. He was on the board of Burisma, and he was there because his dad was the president. Let's be clear about that. Those two things are true. Let's say also he did make $10 million from that arrangement. Where is the Joe Biden corruption in that?
His family's getting rich off of government system.
So I'll ask you again. What
Hunter
what
Biden's a
specific
crackhead.
action did Joe Biden engage in that was corrupt in that regard?
So when you're president and when you're Joe Biden, you can make things happen. You could say tariffs this. You could say, oh, U.S. ain't paying for this. We're not gonna negotiate that. Joe Biden has a lot of power. Remember, the president has a lot of power.
Okay, so I'll ask you again. What did Joe Biden actually do in relation to Hunter Biden and Burisma? What did he do? What action did he take that was corrupt?
It's called the president influence.
Okay, so
President, president.
Joe Biden used his presidential influence to get Hunter Biden rich from Burisma in Ukraine.
Correct. He has a
But
lot of power.
so he did that. You're saying
The
you're gonna admit that he did that. He used his power to make his son a bunch of money, right? That's corrupt.
Correct.
You think that's a fact that he definitely did that. But
Correct.
Trump getting $400 million planes from Qatar, having a meme coin that has made him billions of dollars with investors from who knows where, using the White House, using the power of the White House to elicit investments into his meme coin, saying, I'm gonna have a private dinner with my top biggest investors in this meme coin that I own. That's not corruption. That's not using presidential influence for corrupt
Okay,
purposes.
so let's say Trump is corrupt, right? Or I guess you're saying Trump is corrupt. All these liberals are saying he's corrupt. All right, he's corrupt. So why don't you have the same energy when Joe Biden was in office?
Easy.
When Obama
Okay.
was in office?
You want to answer that question? I'll answer it.
Yeah.
Super easy. This is super. You asked me a very simple question, very simple
Why
answer.
didn't they try to arrest
With
him?
Trump, we have super easy, plain as day, right out in the open evidence of the specific actions that he took that were corrupt. He said, if you are one of the top investors in my coin that I own, that you can't track where the money's coming in and out of this thing. If you're one of the top investors in my coin, I will personally bring you down for a private dinner with me, and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. So he's using his influence to make himself money. With Joe Biden, all we have is an informant making up accusations that he later said were made up about corruption between Burisma and Hunter Biden, not even Joe Biden. And then somehow you've made this connection to Joe saying, well, because Joe Biden was president, he must have been doing something. He must have been behind the scenes pulling some strings to make his son money. So we're talking about the difference of the person themselves doing something corrupt versus the person's kid
No,
doing
I
something
already,
not corrupt, by the way. But that should also be a big point of order. Hunter
I
Biden
already,
sitting on the board of Burisma is not a corrupt action.
I already told you the corruption.
Well, no, you didn't actually. You said because the president has a lot of power, he could use that power to make money. He could.
Hunter
But
Biden.
you haven't pointed to any particular action that he took. You haven't said, well, this thing right here, when he did this, that was corrupt.
Well, I'm telling you again for the third time. Hunter Biden shouldn't be getting billions for speaking engagements.
Hunter isn't getting billions for speaking engagements. Do you know what he made his money from in terms of the Burisma thing? It is by the way, it's really hard to have a conversation about like specific actions, like when you say like, oh well, I want to talk about corruption, so we have to get into the specifics, the very nitty-gritty details of like, well, this person did this and this person did that. It's really hard to have that conversation with a person that doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. It really is hard. So with Burisma, Hunter Biden was put on the board of Burisma, or he was asked to come onto the board of Burisma because his dad was the president. This is a very, very, very normal thing. When you're picking your board, and you're a big company, you don't necessarily always want the most informed people, the people that know the most about whatever your business does, right? You're not always getting super informed people. You're getting people with influence. So yeah, you would want to have the president's son on your board. That in and of itself is not corrupt. The corruption would be if Hunter Biden then went to his dad and said, hey, look, I'm on the board of this company. They really want this, they really want X, Y, or Z. Can you please do it? If we had that level of evidence, then I would say, boom, corruption. But we don't have that.
Like I said, man, you keep on living in your little bubble.
Yeah, but you see how as this conversation's gone on and as we've talked more, how my little bubble has like evidence and shit. Like I can point to you specific things that people have said and done.
We're going around in circles, and you shouldn't be getting paid $10 million just to like wave at people. You really shouldn't.
Well, then your problem isn't with presidential corruption. Your problem is with the way businesses
That's
operate.
corruption.
I'm just telling you now. You don't have to like it. You can hate it all you want, but businesses put influential people on their boards. They don't put knowledgeable people on their boards. That is the way boards work. That's just how it is. That's how it works. I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly. It's just crazy how you guys don't see all the corruption that's going on. You guys are pointing fingers at Trump, but you guys don't point the fingers at others. That's crazy.
Well, because we don't have comparable actions from others. You understand?
Yeah, they're actually worse.
In what way? Like, you see how you've just provided no fucking evidence at all? Like, I get like it's zero, literally. I can point to you. I can point to like a dozen
Well, I
things.
just told you like 5 times that that's corruption. When you're getting money from China and Ukraine for $10 million just for smiling and waving or whatever the hell he does, that's corruption. You did nothing to earn that money. You didn't do anything.
Okay, but
That's
so
corruption.
so
Point period.
so Hunter Biden being on the board of Burisma is corrupt inherently, but Trump coin is not corrupt. Asking people to invest in your coin that you make a direct profit from so they can have a private meeting with the president, that's not corrupt.
Like I
Okay,
said,
I got it. No, I got it.
Like I said, let's say they're both corrupt. Let's say they're both corrupt. Right?
Well, yeah, I mean, the original question you asked me was who
Hey,
you said, do you think Trump is the most corrupt president? So yeah, I do. I think
hey,
he's the most
but
corrupt president. Sure.
and I'm also saying, how come you guys don't have all this energy towards the Bidens and Obamas?
Well, for one, with the Biden, the specific example you wanted to point to here, I don't think is corrupt. I don't think Biden's son sitting on the board of some company because he's the president's son is inherently corrupt. Now, if you want to talk about presidential corruption, why didn't you? You could have just asked me about the pardon. You could have said like, well, why did Joe Biden pardon Hunter Biden for crimes he clearly committed? And then we would have had an actual different conversation where you would have heard me say, yes, I actually think that pardon was corrupt because Hunter He did do those crimes. He absolutely totally did. Everything he was convicted of doing, he totally did it. And Joe said that he wasn't going to pardon him over and over and over. He kept getting asked, like, are you going to pardon your son if he gets convicted? And Joe Biden kept saying, no, I'm not going to do that. I trust the legal system. And then Hunter was convicted and he pardoned him anyway. So you should have asked me about that. But the problem is you wanted to ask me about some shit that wasn't corrupt and then come at me like I'm ignoring you're ignoring the Biden's corruption. No, I'll talk about Biden's corruption. His pardon was corrupt. But you just want to talk about shit that isn't fucking corruption and then pretend like it is. I don't know.
Yeah, but we all know Joe Biden's a liar. Like he lies about the 4 years of that he didn't have dementia. Like Joe Biden's whole presidency. Joe Biden is the biggest liar. Point period. There's no arguing about that.
Okay.
Like who says, "Oh, I'm not gonna pardon my son"? Yeah, like you really want to see him go to jail for 20 years.
I mean, I agree. I totally agree that like when he was being asked that question, when reporters were asking him like, "Do you plan on pardoning Hunter if he gets convicted?" He shouldn't have said no. He should have just the whole time. He should have stuck to his guns the entire time and just be like, "Yeah, actually, if he gets convicted, I am gonna pardon him."
But that's what I'm trying to say. Like we all know Joe Biden's a liar. Everybody knows.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Joe Biden's all. This is why I say you're in a cult. You're so happy to sit here and say But the thing is, like, I agree. Joe Biden did lie about the pardon. He lied about what he was planning on doing. He was probably always going to pardon him if he got convicted because he didn't want to lose his last living son. Of course. So he lied for sure. I won't fight you. But you will sit here. You will absolutely sit here and sweep for every single Trump lie ever. Trump lies more than any other human I've ever met, and you'll sweep for all of it.
Look, listen to what I'm trying to say. All politicians lie. I don't care who you are. Trump lies. Kamala lies. Joe Biden lies 10 times worse than Trump. But not even Trump would lie that much. If Trump's kids were in trouble and they were to get 20 years of jail, not even Trump would lie like that. He wouldn't. He would say, yes, I'm going to pardon my kids.
Trump said he wasn't going to pardon all of the Jan 6ers, but he did anyway. So he lied about pretty much the same. He lied about pardons too. But you're going to ignore that, right? That doesn't count? Kids. You don't care about that?
Those aren't his kids.
Right, but we're talking about lying about who you plan on pardoning. You're going to say, he said, I'm not going to pardon this person. But he did it anyway. He lied. But you're going to ignore that or no?
No, what I'm saying is if Trump's kids got in trouble, he wouldn't lie about that. That's not. You don't lie about your family like Joe Biden did. You don't lie that you don't have coherency for 4 years. Like you guys, and I'm not saying you. I'm saying you Kamala voters fell for the biggest lie for 4 years.
All right, man. Well, it was fun talking to you.
That's all I'm saying, man.
Alrighty, have a good one.
All right, peace.
I'm gonna fucking throw myself off a cliff. All right, guys. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. You see what I'm talking about? This is my problem. We can do that if we want to have like a healthy conversation. We could do the like this person did X bad thing and this person did X bad thing and we can do that. That's fine. I'm more than happy. If there's some stuff that you think that a past Democratic president did that is bad, for one, if it's bad enough, if it's amply, I don't know, if it's sufficiently bad, I'll probably just agree with you. You know what I mean? There's like I'm not going to sit here and defend every action of every single Democratic president and throughout all of history. I wouldn't do that. That's fucking stupid, right? That's delusion. It's just not a thing that I would engage in. So there's stuff that Biden did that I didn't like, and I was like, "Oh, that's not good." The reason I say I saw people in chat talking about it. The reason that I think that the pardon of Hunter Biden was corruption, it wasn't because he lied about it. Although I don't love that he lied about it. I personally think he just shouldn't have lied. When he was being asked about it by reporters, he should have just been like super upfront, like, "Yep, I'm gonna pardon the fuck out of that kid as soon as he gets convicted, if he does get convicted." I think he should have just owned it right from the rip. But that's not the part that I think is corruption. Corruption, definitionally so, at least corruption in the sense of like a person of power, a public official, is using the power vested in you by your position for personal gain. You're saying, I'm going to use my power as the president to benefit me. It's going to be for me, my benefit. And inherently, pardoning your kid is that. Now, if he would have pardoned, say he would have pardoned like every single person across the whole board that had ever been convicted of that particular crime, one of the convictions Hunter got was for lying on the gun background check form. Let's say there was like 15 people that were sitting in prison right now for that exact same crime. If he pardoned all of them, including Hunter, I'd be a little easier on him, because then I'd be like, okay, maybe, well, not maybe, we would still all know what it is, but it's like, okay, well, at least you're being across the board with it. You're saying, I don't agree with this charge. I think it's fucking stupid. So I'm going to let them all off. I'm going to let them all of these guys, I'm going to let them all off. And you pardon them all. But pardoning only your kid is like, okay, so you're using your presidential powers for your own benefit. And that's not good. That's corruption. That's why I think it's corrupt. Not because he lied about it. Although it was stupid to lie. He shouldn't have. He should have just owned it, man. Just own it. Just be like, yeah, I'm going to pardon that kid. He's my only living kid. My other one fucking died. Of course I'm pardoning him. Jesus. He didn't. He pardoned it. I'm not saying, listen, when I said, I understand how you guys took what I just said. I understand how you just took what I said. When I said, but he only pardoned his son, I did not mean that the only person he pardoned literally at all was Hunter. I'm saying for that crime. Out of the people that have ever been convicted of lying on the gun background check form, had he pardoned everyone that's ever been convicted of that crime, all the guys that are currently sitting in jail for it, if there even are any, I don't know if there are, but if there are people that are in jail right now for lying on that form, he should have pardoned all of them across the board. Been like, okay, we're not doing this bullshit charge anymore. You're all gone. You're all going to get out, all of you. But he only pardoned Hunter for that. He didn't even look at the other people that had been charged. I would see it as consistent. I would be like, maybe he just thinks that's a stupid ass charge, and he's just like, hey, you can all go free for it. Maybe. Had he done that, I mean, it still wouldn't have been great. It's still kind of corruption. But it would have been like, it's like, okay, well, it's, at least you're being much, much more consistent now. It wasn't the crime he pardoned him for. It was to keep him. I understand. I know what it wasn't because he thought that charge was dumb. It was because it's his only kid that is left alive. Of course, he's like, bro, I'm about to, I'm old as fuck. I probably don't have that much time left, and I'm about to be retired from all work. And he didn't really have to do anything anymore now that he's not president. He doesn't have to do anything anymore, and he's got one living child left. He probably didn't want to. He didn't want to die with his kid in jail. So he's like, I'm gonna pardon you. I'm gonna get you out of there. And maybe Biden probably only has like 5-10 years left to live. He's like, spend some time with your last kid. That's why he pardoned him. He pardoned him to, he didn't want to let him sit in jail. This kid. Of course you wouldn't. You wouldn't. Okay. All right, this is going to be, this person said they wanted to specifically talk about this. Let's make this quick. What's up, Easy?
Hello, Andrew Jack Daniels. You were speaking about the Hunter Biden pardon.
Yep.
And if memory serves me correctly, I recall that your side, the Democrats,
I'm not a Democrat.
claimed that
Try again.
This was a story that
Run
was
it back.
completely fictitious.
Run it back. Not a Democrat. Try again.
Well, whatever you are. It was your side, the libtards, that claimed that the Hunter Biden story was fabricated.
How could
And
it?
then
Sorry.
until
How could it?
then-
I'm sorry. How could it be my side? How can you say I don't know what side you're on, but it's your side? How does that make sense? What if I'm a diehard Republican?
Clearly, you are part of the Trump derangement syndrome crowd.
How does that make sense? What have I said about Trump that's like not true?
Are you denying that you lean more towards the Democrat side?
Yes, I am denying that.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'll correct myself. Many libtards claimed that the Hunter Biden story was fabricated until the New York Times ran a piece basically admitting that it was true. And then you guys switched it up. So now you're saying that, Biden shouldn't have pardoned Hunter. Okay, so you guys have switched the story and basically admitted that everything that was said about Hunter Biden was true.
What was alleged in the laptop story?
You didn't follow.
No, I'm asking. I'm asking you to
You
summarize.
followed the
I'm
news
asking
on it?
for you to summarize what was alleged in the laptop story.
You want me to recount the entire?
Just like
the
what
entire,
what crimes would have come of it? Like what was alleged in there that he did that was criminal?
Well, sure. Are you aware of Burisma?
Yep.
Okay. So then you know that he was serving on a board that he had no
Yeah.
business being
In
on.
Brisbane. Yep. Sure.
Okay. And so, but this was something that was denied, right? You understand that?
That the laptop story was real.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of denial of it at first. Yeah.
Okay. So why was it called a wild conspiracy theory?
I don't know. I can't speak for the people that didn't believe it was true. I just want to know what crimes were alleged in that story.
So you want me to read you the list of charges? Okay, I can.
No,
pull
not
it up
the.
if you
Sorry. There seems to be a miscommunication. Not what he ended up eventually being actually charged for. You seem to be making some sort of connection between what he ended up getting charged with, the crimes that he had to face down, versus what was alleged in the laptop story. And I just want to know what crimes you believe were alleged in the laptop story. That's it.
Well, the laptops. I mean, within the laptop, there was many things. It wasn't even just the connections to Burisma. It was also the fact that he was a crack addict.
Mhm.
You can find many photos of him on his laptop smoking crack with underage girls. Are you aware of that?
Yeah. I'm waiting. I'm so patient. I feel like I'm being pretty patient. I'm so patiently waiting. I'm just so patiently waiting for an answer to my question. There's no logical reason for me to answer any of your questions until you answer mine, right? You understand, surely.
Well, do you approve of that kind of behavior?
But surely there's no reason you would ever think I'm going to answer anything you have to ask if you refuse to answer the one question I've asked you since the start, right?
Well, I see that your refusal to answer the question is a concession, that you do approve of that.
So your refusal to answer my question is a concession that there actually was nothing alleged in that story.
Okay, so you admitted to being okay with Hunter Biden smoking crack with underage girls.
So you're admitting that he actually didn't do any crimes.
I've not admitted that. If you follow the flow of the conversation.
So can you tell me what crimes were alleged in the laptop story?
You want me to pull up the legal documents now?
No, not what he was initially. Why are you having such a hard time following? I don't care what he was eventually charged
with. You want me
with.
to be as specific as possible, or what?
No. It could be super broad, extraordinarily broad.
Oh, okay.
You could be like disgustingly broad. I don't need actual. Yeah, just tell me what was alleged that he did.
Money laundering, kickbacks. Are you aware of the Biden crime family?
Go ahead and keep answering this. Let's stay on this.
Stay on what?
On Hunter Biden, like what he did, what was alleged of him in the laptop story. Because you seem to you think it's a big deal that initially when the story was initially written, a lot of people thought it was just not real, right? And you think that significantly plays into my opinion that the pardoning was corrupt. I don't understand. Basically, I'm just trying to get you to elaborate on where you think the connection is between. Okay, go ahead. Elaborate.
It was a money laundering operation. They were sending money over. Hunter was facilitating the transfer of money to Biden.
Okay, and that's what the story alleged.
10% for the big guy.
Okay. All right. Let me summarize real quick, and you tell me where I missed. Okay. So, the Hunter Biden laptop story was written. It came out. It alleged that there was this big bribery scheme where the Bidens were being bought off for something for using their influence in X, Y, or Z way, whatever way that Burisma wanted them to use it. And when that story was released, it was suppressed and people didn't believe it. And there was this whole outcry of like, it's fake, it's fake. That's what we got.
That is correct.
Okay. Now I only have one follow-up question. Given that, what do you have to say about the FBI informant that kicked all of this off being convicted of lying about it all?
Can you show me where that's the case?
Yes. What standard of evidence would you like here?
Primary sources, legal documents,
Gotcha.
Court documents.
I'll find it. I'm sure his court docs aren't going to be stupidly hard to find. Right now, I just got all the articles about it pulled up. Okay. Easy to find. Hey, fuck you. Stop. Get the ad off my screen. Piece of shit. All right, we got the indictment right here. Plaintiff v. Alexander Smirnov. The grand jury charges. Defendant Alexander Smirnov was a resident of Los Angeles, California. We'll skip all that. We'll just go to the crimes where they say he lied. Okay. Up. Starts right here. Okay. So he was an FBI informant. We'll start right here. The defendant was admonished by the handler that he must provide truthful information to the FBI when he first became a CHS in 2010 and on multiple occasions thereafter, including but not limited, and then it just fucking rips a bunch of dates. In addition, when the defendant was authorized to engage in illegal activity for investigative purposes, he was further admonished that under no circumstances may the CHS participate in any act that constitutes obstruction of justice. Examples: perjury, witness tampering, witness intimidation, entrapment, or fabrication, alteration, or destruction of evidence, unless such illegal activity has been authorized. When the defendant was given this admonishment, he signed on an FBI form that contained this statement, including on a bunch more dates. Despite repeated admonishments that he must provide truthful information to the FBI and that he must not fabricate evidence, the defendant provided false derogatory information to the FBI about public official number 1, an elected official in the Obama-Biden administration, who left office in January 2017, and business person 1, the son of public official 1. That's Joe and Hunter. In 2020, after public official 1 became a candidate for presidency of the United States of America. As described in greater detail below, in March 2017, the defendant reported to the handler that he had a phone call with the owner of Ukrainian industrial conglomerate Burisma Holdings concerning Burisma's interest in acquiring a U.S. company and making an initial public offering on a U.S.-based stock exchange. In reporting that conversation to the handler, the defendant also noted that business person 1, public official number 1's son, was a member of Burisma's board, a fact that was publicly known. 3 years later, in June 2020, the defendant reported for the first time 2 meetings in 2015 and/or 2016 during the Obama-Biden administration, in which he claimed executives associated with Burisma, including Burisma official 1, admitted to him that they hired business person 1 to protect us through his dad from all kinds of problems, and later that they had specifically paid $5 million each to public official 1 and business person 1. When public official 1 was still in office, so that business person 1 will take care of all those issues through his dad, referring to a criminal investigation being conducted by the then Ukrainian prosecutor general into Burisma and deal with the then Ukrainian prosecutor general. The defendant also, all of this is just going to be what you saw in the laptop story, the allegations that there was corruption in Burisma. Let's scroll down to why they're actually charging him. Hold on.
What evidence did he present that was considered
memorialized in 2017? The defendant told the handler in March 2017 during this call there was a brief. This is just in reference to the call 3 years later. We'll scroll down to where what he's being charged with. Oh, by the way, I should be super clear that right after this indictment came out, he pled guilty. That's the defendant message. God damn it! This is a fucking grossly.
It does not prove that Hunter Biden and Burisma are free from corruption.
Sure. Okay. Let me ask you. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That is an actual okay statement. Just because a person pled guilty doesn't mean that everything that they've said is untrue. I agree. I super agree. Then let me ask you this: the entire Burisma scandal, the investigation that followed, and everything, pretty much everything in the laptop story, except for this guy is a fucking huge drug addict. That part of it was like super duper true. But everything else about the Burisma corruption stemmed from this guy's testimony, this confidential informant. If it is the case that he was charged with lying about it all, and then he pled guilty, what is more believable? Only on that basis. He was charged with lying, pled guilty to lying. On that basis, is it more likely that he was telling the truth the whole time and pled guilty for other reasons, or that he just was lying and pled guilty because he was caught?
He could have pled guilty because he could have been doing other things on the side that weren't legal. I don't know. That's kind of you could still be telling the truth about one thing and not be telling the truth about other things. I mean, that's
sure. And we're not going to get because there was investigations into the Burisma stuff, and this is the only thing that turned up was like when this informant made these accusations, the FBI investigated the Burisma scandal, the whole thing, and this was actually all that really turned up from it was oh shit. This informant that got us onto this in the beginning was actually lying. So because there was an investigation, and this is what turned up, was that the informant was lying. All I'm asking for is like a preponderance of the evidence standard analysis from you, like 50 or 51%. What do you think is 51% likely that he was lying about the accusations of Burisma corruption, or that he was actually telling the truth anyway? Just only what is more likely.
Didn't we just went over this though?
Well, you
So
said
what was
he
your
could
point?
still be telling the truth, and I agree with you. I completely still agree with you. I'm saying based only on the fact that he pled guilty to lying about it all, what is just more likely? Where are you leaning? Were you leaning more towards, okay, maybe he was lying, or are you leaning towards, no, I still think he was telling the truth?
I think coupled with outside evidence aside from the informant's testimony, one could surmise that yes, he was telling the truth for the most part.
Okay, what outside
It's
evidence?
not- The entire case did not depend on a single informant.
Okay, why didn't Hunter Biden get charged then?
Well, what do you mean? He was the president's son.
But he was charged with other stuff. So he didn't get charged with this. So Biden wouldn't have let him get charged with this, but Biden let him get charged with other stuff.
I think that if Hunter Biden was charged with this, then it would have implicated plenty of other people in this corruption scheme. So it'd probably be easier for them to deal with the other charges than with this one. So
You don't think that the other charges hurt Joe Biden as well, like a lot?
I think
Wasn't this all that was being talked about?
I think a corruption scandal with a clear money trail probably would hurt him far more.
But why didn't he just kill the if we've now established that Joe Biden is more than willing to sweep for his kid, why did he not just kill the investigation on the other? He specifically allowed the investigation to continue. He specifically said, no, don't drop the investigation. Go ahead, investigate him.
I mean,
Why not just kill it?
That's like that's like when you guys say that the police department investigated itself and found no wrongdoing.
Well, but they did find wrong. Do you understand? Like Hunter Biden was charged. I'm saying, why didn't the investigation that led to him being charged? Why not just kill the investigation? You don't have to let that happen. Trump's killed a bunch of investigations into him. Why not kill this?
They had to make it believable. I mean, there were so many crimes being committed that if they just said, well, there's no wrongdoing whatsoever, then there'd be a huge scandal. So they had to make it believable, basically.
Okay, so just to summarize, your position is that an investigation that was started based on testimony from an informant that later came out saying he lied, that investigation into that corruption turned up no evidence. There is no further evidence. I don't know where you get this based on other outside evidence. There is none. Based on that, we can conclude that Joe Biden swept this under the rug so that Hunter would stay out of trouble for it and it wouldn't come back on him. But coming into office, knowing Hunter was being investigated for other things, lying on his gun background check and tax frauds, knowing that, he allowed that investigation to continue, allowed Hunter to be charged, allowed him to go to jail. Now, he did eventually pardon him in the end, which I think was bad, that he shouldn't have done that.
Well, a pardon is an admission that the crime was committed.
Correct. Well, but he was also convicted, and it was the most obvious fucking shit in the universe. He clearly, super duper, ultra mega clearly did it. In fact, the fucker wrote a book admitting to the crime. So, yeah, he did it.
So what are you arguing about?
You're talking about, when you bring up the Hunter Biden laptop story, what you're talking about is the Burisma corruption scandal. The money, like the accusation that Burisma was paying Hunter and Joe Biden money for influence.
Do you know how much money
Hunter
he was making on that board?
never convicted of anything regarding that, although he was convicted of other things. I'm saying those other things happened. This didn't.
Sure. Tell me do you know how much money Hunter Biden was making sitting on that board, on that energy board?
How much?
You don't know, or
no? You tell me how much money he was making.
If I recall, it was about $10 million yearly. I don't know if that could be wrong. It's been a while since I read the number.
So the accusation was five. The accusation was. Don't ask me a question and then fucking give me a wrong answer and then not let me correct you. I don't give a fuck. Don't. You're okay. So I'm gonna step in and correct you when you're wrong. Okay, right? The accusation was that that they were paying out $10 million total, 5 to Joe, 5 to Hunter.
Okay, so there you go, 10 million. See, it's been a while since I don't remember the exact figure. That's what I said though, 10 million. Anyway, I don't know why you stopped me then.
Because Hunter wasn't getting paid 10 million. The accusation Hunter was getting paid 5 million. And the accusation was that there was an additional 5 million going off to Joseph.
Yeah, the big guy, right? Okay, so glad we cleared that up. Anyway, so do you think that he was qualified to be receiving that large sum of money?
No, I think 99% of people that sit on big companies' boards aren't qualified to be there.
That's not what I asked. I asked you.
Well, what was the first word of my answer?
Was Hunter Biden?
No, when I responded, what was the first word that I said in my response?
You can just repeat it. I guess I don't know what to tell you.
So is it my fault you're not listening? Because the first word out of my mouth was no.
Okay, so you don't believe it. Okay, all right. So why was he there then?
Because he was the son of Joe Biden.
Okay, so this is clearly a case of nepotism, right? So
nepotism is when a person in power gives special favors to their children. The board of Burisma wanted Hunter Biden on it because at the time his dad was the vice president of the United States.
Yeah, he got that job because of who his dad is.
Yep.
There you go. So it's clearly a case of nepotism.
I'm just waiting for the what about that is corrupt from Joe. I assume I guess you never said it.
If you don't see how that's corrupt, I don't how.
Well, so you never said it, so I guess I'm projecting an opinion onto you that you might not have. So let me ask. You think you just said this. You do think that him just being there was corrupt. My question would be, who engaged in the corrupt action? Who did a corrupt thing?
If we take that simple fact, and then you combine it with testimony and evidence that was gathered, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that it was a money laundering scheme.
Yeah, but so you'd have to then provide some evidence, right? But
no, I mean, all the people that have, I guess they've, time moves on. It's just like the JFK. They killed that guy and covered up their tracks, just like this with Burisma.
Well, then, but there's this huge community that investigates it. Now, I'm not saying I believe that there's some conspiracy with JFK, but there's evidence that people could put forth, right? They could say there's this huge community, that believes that there was something weird going on with JFK's assassination, and there's some evidence that they present. My contention is that you're making a claim without presenting any evidence. So I'd actually say the JFK assassination guys are better than you because at least they got something. What do you have evidence-wise?
Well, how do I mean, you want me to start showing you documents and stuff like that? This would just take forever. I don't even have a way to do that with you right now.
Well, the primary motive evidence when the accusation was made was the testimony from an FBI informant, right? So that was we actually had evidence back then. It was like, oh shit, a fucking informant
you never established that all of his testimony was useless. I mean,
he admitted it was made up.
What did he admit specifically was made up? Did he say all of it was made up? And why did he do that?
Everything that wasn't a public fact. So the thing that was the parts that were totally true was that Hunter Biden was on the board of Burisma. Hunter Biden was on the board of Burisma because of who his dad was. But the fact that the idea that they were using the Bidens were using their power in order to help Burisma and then taking back end payouts for that part he made up.
You think that was made up?
Well, the guy who made the claim said he made it up.
He can say anything he wants. I mean, I'm saying if you take in other facts along with those statements.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I agree that there could be other facts. All I'm asking you is, what are those other facts?
Well, there's a clear money trail.
What's the money trail?
The $10 million for one.
Yeah, Hunter Biden was being paid money to be on that board. You understand? That's how that works. He was being paid money to be there.
For what exactly?
Because he was the son of the vice president.
For his expertise.
99% of people that are on the advisory boards aren't there because they have anything to add intelligently. They are there because they're someone of note.
Okay, so we can both agree that he was there not because of any kind of expertise he may have had. He was there because of who his dad is.
Yes.
And knowing that, you would still say, well, there's no way that... Well, I don't know. Are you saying that? You're saying that...
I'm not saying there's no way. I'm not saying there's no way there was nothing shady happening. What I'm saying is, what you would need to do for me to hop on board with this whole theory is have some sort of evidence that Joe Biden was using his power as the vice president at the time, and then later on as the president, you need to provide some evidence that he was using that power as directed by Burisma through his son to benefit them in exchange for money. There is no evidence of that.
Okay. I don't know. That's the thing. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it. I'd have to look into it and get back to you on that.
Sure,
We'd
you
have to
should
a
you
part
should do
two.
that. You should totally do, instead of making wild accusations, you looking into it
I'm
should
not
be
making wild accusations.
well,
I'm just basing
your
it off
accusation is that there was some sort of criminal activity going on here.
I think that you also somewhat agreed with me that in all likelihood that yes, there is some sort of.
I did
corruption
not say in all
probably.
likelihood. There's zero evidence that I've ever seen of that. There was evidence that I saw of it when this informant came out with these accusations, and I was like, oh shit. And then later he was like, yeah, I lied. And then I was like, oh damn, okay, nothing.
Okay, so you're saying because of the credibility of the informant, that's why you're doubting the accusation?
Not necessarily credibility is not the right word, because there could be people that there could be whistleblowers that have lied in the past, that literally have even been caught lying. That doesn't mean everything they ever say going forward is false. That just means you need to look at it with more intensity. There needs to be more than just what they say, because like, okay, well, this guy's lied in the past, so we need more than just what you're saying. So it doesn't mean I just throw it out wholesale. What I'm saying for this case is that he made an accusation, and then later he said that he lied about that accusation. So I would say, okay, well then none of it was true. Then if you're saying you lied,
Okay, well, we'll see. I'll have to come back in with some primary documents. Then we'll see what happens after that, because I don't have the legal case memorized.
okay. Well, come back later. All right, listen, guys. If you're in the live right now and you're not following me, click the follow button. Okay, click it. Click the button. Click the button. Click the follow button. I'm gonna throw the. I gotta read off some gifties that we have received over the last since we've been live. I'm gonna throw the gift goal back up on stream, but I'm also gonna read. Where's the gifty thing? I gotta go read. So we got a heart me. Okay, shit. Hold up. There's more stuff. Sharky sent a rose. Rallytown and Nick Dell sent heart me's. Kelly and Mam Mom, thank you guys for the hand hearts. Mam Mom also sent a rose. Todd, thank you for the heart me. Willie with the rose. Cash with the heart me. Nick with the rose. Jim and Brown Girl with the heart me's. Thank you guys. I super appreciate it. Super awesome. And Sharky with the heart me. Thank you so much, Sharky. Thank you. And thank you for the follows, guys. Thank you for the follows, guys. Yeah, that was a fucking wild conversation. It truly was. That was a wild conversation. Listen, that was supposed to be way shorter than it ended up being. That was supposed to be a very, very, very short conversation. Didn't end up being one. Mainly because nothing fucking gets under my skin more. Nothing gets under my skin more. You do know he was also charged with tax evasion, so it wasn't just false info, and he pled guilty. Yeah, I mean, all the stuff he was charged with, he definitely did. I don't contest the stuff that he was charged with. He super did that shit. My contention is just that there was some fucking scheme to launder money from Burisma to the Bidens, mainly because the only evidence that there ever was to that was an informant's testimony. And then that same informant was convicted or pled guilty to lying about it all later on, right? But yeah, he did some crimes. He did some crime, that's for sure. Hunter was doing some crime, and also, I mean, they could have just charged him with the. Actually, I don't know if you can do that. No, you probably can't. I was gonna say they could have charged him with the drug stuff, but I don't know if you actually can. I don't think you can like charge someone for because isn't it the case that like using drugs isn't illegal? Right? Using drugs isn't illegal. I think it's like using them isn't, but possessing them. Like when you get charged with like a drug offense, it's on the basis of possession, not usage. So I was going to say in his book, like he talked a lot in his book about just absolutely abusing the shit out of meth. I was going to say he could have been charged with that, but I don't think so. Because all he admitted to was using it. I don't know if there's ever a point where he admitted to like selling it. If that were the case, if he had some like whole section in his book where he's like, yeah, and also I was like selling a bunch of this stuff for money, then they probably could have got his ass. But yeah. Anyway, that's besides the point. Listen, like I said, click the follow button. How many followers have we gained this stream? 43, which puts us at a number. I have no idea how many we have right now. How many followers we got? Holy fuck, I clicked the wrong button. Wrong button. How many do we have, bro? We need to get to 10K. He would never charge a VP's son with possession. True. When we get snagged. It's like, ooh, do we really want to deal with this bullshit? Probably not. That's probably like a lot of what it is. They're just like, I like don't want to deal with this. Like this just seems like not a fun thing to deal with. Anyway. And the constant attempt to distract from what Trump is doing. That's the super funny part. Not letting you off the hook until I get to the bottom of this Burisma story. Get to the bottom of it. You get in there. You get in there. Yeah, listen, guys. That conversation went on way longer than it was supposed to. I have to go now. But I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate all the follows, the gifts, the whole 9 yards. How many? We got 323 diamonds today and 43 followers. I appreciate all of that. The gifters, the followers, super dope. And just thanks for being here in general. We'll be back tomorrow. And that's it. That's it. We'll be back tomorrow. Come back to the live tomorrow if you want to. All right. See you guys later. Peace out. See ya. See ya. Bye. See you later. Bye. See you later. Bye. Have a good one. Bye. See you later. Bye. All right. YouTube and Twitch. It's been real. I appreciate you guys being here. Same thing. Obviously, we'll be back tomorrow.